All right. It's a rainy Wednesday evening, ladies and gentlemen, in Metro Manila. I hope everyone's safe and healthy and warm in this weather kasi it's been raining really hard in this part of the Philippines. I hope, well, outside of Manila, I'm not sure what the weather is, but I hope everyone's comfortable in their homes watching this podcast episode. I really apologize for the delay in the broadcast because the weather hasn't been really friendly. So, batiin lang po natin yung mga nanonood. Good evening. Hello, Sir Joseph. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, to all our silent viewers out there, thank you so much. And to those who are watching replay as well, thank you, thank you. Please post your comments on the comment section if you ever come across this podcast episode on replay. Binabasa ko pa rin naman yung mga comments ninyo. So don't forget to post your comments if you have any reactions or any experience that you would like to share. We'll definitely read them and of course react to them as well if we can, 'di ba? Syempre, binabasa natin ang mga comments ninyo kasi this podcast episode is for you. And 'di ba? Sinabi ko na 'to sa inyo before. All the podcast episodes are for you. So I really appreciate all your comments, all your suggestions to make our channel better. So hindi kahit na pangalan ko yung nandito para sa ating lahat ito. So if you need reminders, you can also definitely check other podcast episodes so that you will also see some of the podcast episodes some of the previous podcast episodes that you can probably relate to. Ayan. So tonight our topic is all about wala pala akong banner. Ita-type nga natin yung banner. Ayan, nangarag ako dahil nga maulan ngayong gabi. Nakakaloka yung signal. Ayan. Type lang po natin yung i-type lang po natin yung topic natin for tonight. O, ayan. Kasi yung iba na naguguluhan, ano ba yung topic for tonight? So, I make sure that we have our banners there para nakikita natin. Okay, so let's start this one. Once again, to those who doesn't know me, um, hello, Jamie, you're there. Of course, nagugunita kita. Hello, magandang hapon sa Qatar, 'di ba? O, ayan. Alala kita. Ikaw pa ba? Hindi pwedeng hindi magunita si Mr. Gunita. Thank you for tuning in. Ayan. So it's a Wednesday evening here and it's a Wednesday afternoon there and it's a very rainy Wednesday evening here. So sana naman sa Qatar hindi umuulan. Ayan. Bumabagyo yata dito sa Pilipinas. Hindi ko pa alam kung anong nangyayari. Ayan. Syempre, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So to those of you who doesn't know me yet, I'm not sure why you're here, but definitely kaya kayo napadpad dito for a purpose. So hopefully that purpose will be served. My name's Ivorine. I'm a licensed real estate broker in the Philippines. I'm also a motivational speaker and a writer. And I do a lot of things in between. Ang tawag nila sa akin, Koracha. So may nag-PM sa akin earlier, Koracha daw, wala daw akong pahinga. Pero 'di ba, I enjoy a lot of things in my life. Ayan. Super super Nako, kami naman dito, nasobrahan naman sa ano ba 'to, ba't ayaw mag-share? Nasobrahan sa ulan. Ayan. Nawala tuloy ako. Sorry. Nahihilo yung ano ko ngayon, nahihilo yung frames ko ngayon. Ayan, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ayun, 'di ba? Dito maulan, pero anyway, so sana medyo nasa malamig kang lugar at kami naman ay nasa warm na lugar para somehow magbalanse yung ating mga katawan. Alright, once again, welcome back to our podcast episode and tonight is all about Empowerment Wednesdays and our topic for tonight is no is a valid answer. Bakit ito yung topic natin for tonight? Kasi naman, ang daming nagsasabi sa akin, how do I say no? Kasi most people, okay, background of the story. So, sanay kasi yung mga tao sa akin, mas madalas ako mag-no kaysa mag-yes. And the reason for that is because, kasi may strict ang parents ko. strict ang parents. Strict ang parents ko when I was younger. And then also, I have my grandparents with me. So, talagang lumaki ako sa environment na maraming boundaries. And so, I got used to saying no. And I got used to receiving no. And so, when I got out of our home, nung naging adult na ako, it wasn't hard for me to say no because I got used to it. I received so many no's, and then I also said no. And in my job, in my line of job, I'm in sales for the longest time in my life. And no has always been very common to hear. As in, mas marami yung no's ko kaysa sa yeses ko. So, no, I got used to hearing no. Pero people still ask me, how do you get used to it? How do you actually say no when you really mean no? So that's the background story of this podcast episode tonight. Hello, Sir Alexis. Good evening po. Thank you so much for tuning in. And so, join the conversation tonight. It's all about no, and wag kayo magno-no. Wag kayo magno-no sa pag-join sa conversation, pero matuto tayong mag-no. Paano nga ba? Sige, simulan natin sa why do people find it hard to say no? Syempre, obviously, gabi-gabi kung nanonood kayo sa mga podcast episodes, we usually, ano bang tawag nito? We usually define, we usually define the word. Pero, i-define ko pa ba yung no? So, dun na tayo agad sa why do people find it hard to say no? Ayan. Hello, Sir Arthur Mendoza from Phase 3 PH Arena, Philippine Arena with Sir Joseph Marine. Thank you so much for tuning in. Isang masigabong palakpakan para sa ating mga swabbers, bomberong swabbers sa Philippine Arena. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out sa inyong lahat dyan. Ayan, sana safe kayo and warm kahit na malakas ng ulan. Okay, so simulan natin. Why do people find it hard to say no? The first one is they want to avoid conflict. Kasi para matahimik na, 'di ba? Culturally speaking, Filipinos find it hard to say no because we don't want conflicts. We are non-confrontational. Although yung mga medyo modern na, yung mga Gen Z diyan, feeling ko yung mga millennials and Gen Z medyo nagbago na yung trend pagdating sa pagsabi ng no. Pero kadalasan pa rin nahihirapan pa rin tayo mag-no kasi we want to avoid conflict. Parang 'di ba ito yung common na maririnig natin? Parang sige na para matapos na, which is actually something we are enabling, 'di ba? We are enabling the situation to be within to be beyond our control kasi parang hinayaan na lang natin just because we want to avoid conflict. Okay, the next malaglag yung laptop ko. Okay. Another reason for finding it hard to say no is when we are unaware of our limits. Okay. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng limits? I'm not sure if I talked about this in a previous episode or maybe I talked about this in a class. But remember that each person has his or her own limits. Pero hindi natin sinasabi limits sa dreams. Limits meaning similar to boundaries, though. We are unaware of our limits. And one example, especially kung merong mga nanonood na mga younger audience dyan, at mga babae. Let me remind you this, di ba? Isa sa mga common na example nito, yung kapag how do I put it in a very diplomatic way na hindi ako mababa ng Facebook. Okay, so for example, nape-pressure sa relationship, mag-give in to doing that deed kahit na teenagers, for example. So if you are a teenage girl and you are being pressured by your boyfriend to give into something that is beyond what you can give, minsan yun yung nagiging yun yung nahihirapan mag-no. So eventually you regret it, pero at that very moment you find it hard to say no because you are unaware of your limitations. You know me, I always push for limitless, but when it comes to your bodies, to your decisions, you have to be aware of your limits. So you have to say no. But again, this is the reason why people find it hard to say no because they are unaware. They don't know what the limits are. And I'd like to say hi hi dog all the way from Romania. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm not sure. Good afternoon, right? Good afternoon to you. I think you're, if I remember it correctly, no, do not correct me first. Okay, let me say this. You're 5 hours late in terms of time zone. So it's good afternoon to you. It's good evening here. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dog, as always. Thank you for your support. Okay, so yes, threshold. So we are not aware of our threshold. Okay? So next reason is FOMO. To the younger audience, they know what FOMO is, but for the older audience, o sige, sino nakakaalam ng FOMO? Who knows what FOMO means? No googling, no cheating. Ano yung FOMO? Ano ibig sabihin ng FOMO? Sige nga, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's FOMO? Ay, walang sumagot. You're not aware of what FOMO means? Okay, so ang ibig sabihin ng FOMO is the fear of missing out. So, kaya it's hard for you to say no because you don't want to miss out on things. So, tara, party tayo, no? Let's go to a party even if you have so many deadlines. You don't say no because you fear that you will be missing out on something. And this is very common, not only with friends, also with families, even if you are really busy, you have so many deadlines. And I know you have to prioritize work, but sometimes, you know, there are also there are also things at work that we have to prioritize, but we end up not doing them because we fear that we will miss out on our families, ganyan. So this is also another reason why we find it hard to say no, the fear of missing out. It's very common. FOMO, by the way, is is a trend because of the millennials. Okay, another reason why people find it hard to say no is when we attempt to please people, we become people pleaser. And again, um, hindi ko kasi pwedeng sabihin na it's cultural, because I guess it's just, I will be, um, parang Filipinos will be singled out if I say that it's cultural. But when it comes to people pleasing, I think it's regardless, no? It transcends all races. It's human nature, diba? We want to please people, we want to make people feel good, because when we make people feel good, we also feel good. So we want to please them because the moment we please them, there's a certain level of satisfaction kapag ka na-please natin sila. You get what I'm saying? So I hope that made sense. I really want to get that across because when we want to please people, we do everything even if we are not really comfortable with our answers. Okay, so people pleasing. Another reason is guilt. Nag-yes ka na lang kasi ayaw mong mag-guilty for saying no. And guilt is obviously one of the negative human emotions. It's pretty common. It's something that is normal. And again, I will tell you this, emotions are normal, emotions are valid, and guilt is one of them. No, it's valid. However, please do not decide based on guilt. Okay? So later on we will be talking about this. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited to talk. Okay, so that's another reason why people find it hard to say no, guilt. Okay, another one is the lack of backbone. Grabe yung wordings natin tonight. Lack of backbone. Ano ba yung lack of backbone? Parang, ano ba sa Tagalog yun? Ang hirap kasing i-Tagalog nito. Pero, you don't have the guts. Ganyan na lang. You don't have the guts to say no. Especially, for example, if your boss asks you to do something, it's so hard to say no because that's your boss, diba? And Asians in general, we have high reverence, pa tawag doon. We have high respect for our superiors, and we don't say no because we feel that if we say no, maybe we'll disappoint them or whatever. But really, sometimes the reason for that is because we don't have the guts to tell them no. Wala lang talaga tayong backbone for it. And again, I'm not saying that this is bad, but all we're saying here is that these are the reasons. No judgment. No judgment zone tayo dito sa podcast episodes natin. So wala tayong judgments. We are trying to pinpoint the reasons for the things, and then so that we when we understand things, we do better, diba? Okay. Hello, Sir Noel. Thank you, thank you. Hope you're okay. It's a rainy Wednesday evening across the metro. Okay, so ito na. Why should we say no? Bakit nga ba kailangan nating magsabi ng no when we mean it, when we want to mean it? Okay, we'll have the first reason. Um, we want to challenge or rethink our cultural upbringing. And I can only say this from the perspective of someone who was born and raised in the Philippines. I noticed that ganun talaga tayo eh. By nature, um, we do not confront people. We are scared to say our opinions, ganyan. We are scared of saying no. We don't want to have negative. We don't want to deliver negative news, mga ganyan. It all boils down to maybe because we were brought up like that, or maybe also parang doon nalilink din siya doon sa gusto natin kasing ma-please yung family members natin. So eventually when you grow older, you also bring that, that certain vibe that you want to be pleasing people because you grew up in a family where you want to please your parents, you want to have like high grades, remarkable grades in school so that they will probably buy you something. I was guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. I wanted to please my mom so that she can buy me a toy or things like that. So eventually, um, you also bring it outside of home. So we want to say no because we want to challenge whatever we've learned from our cultures. And again, this is not to say that our cultures are wrong or our values are wrong, because remember, no value, I mean, when we are talking about culture, no value is ever wrong. No cultural values are wrong. No religious values are wrong. No social values are wrong. It's just that somehow we have to rethink it. We have to challenge it. Hindi porke nakagisnan na natin, not because we got used to it, it's already correct, or it's still applicable outside of home. So again, challenge or rethink our cultural upbringing. Next is to not get taken advantage of, because when we always say yes, especially at work, you will probably get a million tasks because you keep on saying yes to everybody in the office. Diba? So, kaya mo bang gawin to? Yes, sige. Pwede bang pakigawa naman ito? Sige lang, okay lang, kaya ko naman. Eventually, people will be taking advantage of you because you always say yes. And you should know how to have your limits. You should know how to set your limits because, again, you are also enabling that person to be lazy or irresponsible. Okay, so please do not tolerate that one. Okay, next is self-care as well. So we talked about boundaries, I mean limits earlier. So we should say no because, for example, you're already exhausted. So say no. You deserve it. You deserve to take care of yourself. Remember that you cannot give something that you don't have. I said this before in previous episodes, and then I will say it again. I will remind you all over again if you haven't watched that episode, but please do. Okay, so you cannot give something that you don't have. If you're exhausted and you don't want to be doing the things that you are expected to do because you are just so tired, like for example, in certain scenarios, you can decline. You have the right to decline, but don't decline naman all the time. No, I'm not saying that. Your bosses are gonna kill me naman if you say no to every single task being assigned to you. And all I'm saying is you should know when to say no because you have to take care of yourself. Okay? And believe me when I say that, because I've also abused myself by saying yes by saying yes to everyone. Okay, another reason is to remind ourselves of our self-worth. We always make people feel special. We always want to make people feel loved. Let me remind you, you deserve the love that you give to other people. You deserve the care that you give to other people. You deserve to be worthy. You are also worthy pala. You are also worthy to take care of yourself. So always remind yourself that you deserve the care that you're giving everybody else. So no, when you say no, it's not only about just because you're lazy or irresponsible. Also remember that you are valuable too. Not only them, di ba? Hindi lang sila yun. Dapat ikaw din. You should also take care of yourself. Sorry magulo talaga yung hair ko today. Nagulo dahil sa kakaano ko, kakapani ko kanina sa ano. Okay. Okay, another reason for saying no is to set realistic expectations. Okay. Hello po, Sir Tayag. I think you posted a graphic so I cannot see it on my screen. Hello there, sir. Hello, Jessica. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so next is to set realistic expectations. Kasi, okay, sometimes we tend to be Superman, Superwoman because we always say yes to everything. But eventually, people will there will come a time that you will not be able to give favors or give or do the tasks for everybody because you just don't have the time anymore, or maybe you don't have the energy anymore, and then eventually people will think that you have become irresponsible because they got used to saying to your yeses, that when eventually you say no, they will think that you're just being irresponsible or unaccountable for something. So when you say no, you also, again, babalikan natin, no, boundaries. You're setting boundaries that, I remember one of my bosses before, shout outs to Doc Julius, yeah, one of my favorite bosses of all time. So I remember Doc Julius when he called my attention, like he called me out in the office, and he told me, "What are you doing beyond 5 p.m. in the office?" I was like, "I'm still working." And he was like, "Why? Nobody's here anymore. You have to go. I mean, if you don't have anything urgent, you should probably go home because this is a boundary. After 5 p.m., you are supposed to be with your family. You have to set boundaries, right?" And so I noticed that during that time, he was the only boss that I have who told me that I can stop working because I've been working my bum off for the longest time before he became my boss, and I was like, oh, that felt really good. People reminding me to stop working because I deserve to take some rest. And also, I realized that when you keep on pushing beyond your limits, people will also think that you're limitless and you have no boundaries. You just say no to everything, and then eventually again you will fail them because one day you will really get tired of everybody else's expectations from you. So always set realistic expectations because that's also something that you should work on. And also people will, realistic expectations also of other people, you have to set them. They shouldn't be expecting something from you to become Superman or Superwoman, especially at work. And thank you so much. Ang dami pong nanonood. Thank you for tuning in. Again, please join the conversation if you feel that this resonates with you or if you have any experience that you would like to share to us or share with us. Tama dun. Okay, so this is the big question. How do you really say no and mean it? Okay, I'm very straightforward with my answer with this. How do I say no? Kayo po, how do you say no? Paano nyo nga ba sinasabi yung no ninyo? So tingnan natin yung mga sagot ninyo dyan sa comment section. I wanna know, how do you say no to people? And tingnan natin if those are also some of the inputs that I have tonight. Okay? So basically ako, this is my communication mantra. I have been teaching communication ever since 2008. Nag-isip. Magbibilang na naman kayo kung ilang taon na ako. So basta 2008 ako nag-start magturo ng communication. And communication is not about language. I will say that again. Communication is how you use the language, regardless of what language you use. So my communication mantra is very basic. Say what you mean what you say. Pag sinabi mong maganda, maganda yung kausap mo, maganda talaga siya. No nonsense. Ganon. So, when I say no, that's definitely a no. Like, I would be very straightforward with my no. Okay, and that's also how I got out of trouble because I don't want to, you know, for example, courtship. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but kasi magkakaroon tayo ng courtship episode. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. But for example, for example, a guy approaches me and then he said that he likes me, blah, blah, blah. And then I will just say no there and then. I wouldn't raise his hopes up. Ganun ka straightforward because I don't want to be, raising people's hopes up and then bring them down eventually. So, sayang ng oras nating dalawa, di ba? Magkaka-emotion ka pa. So, sayang naman yung time. So, I say no immediately. But again, that's not easy to do, especially if you really did not get used to doing it. So, let's have some tips. Okay, how do we say no? The first one is to be more assertive. And assertive is totally different from aggressive. There's assertive communication and there's aggressive communication. When we talk about assertive communication, you're pushing for what you want, but in a very respectful way and in a way that both of you actually win, diba? Pero when you say aggressive, you're using foul language, ganyan, you're yelling and stuff. So that's not what we want. What we want is when we say no, we have to be somehow, ano ba tawag doon? Convincing and at the same time, persuasive. Something persuasive and at the same time asserting what you really want to say. Okay, so for example, somebody asks you out on a very busy work week. How do you become assertive? So sasabihin niyo, I have a very busy week. Maybe we can have it some other time. Yan, 'di ba? Kaya nga 'di ba sa Amerikano may uso sa kanila yung can we do a rain check? Because that's also how you decline, no? Rain check, and I forgot what it means by rain check. I cannot explain it in a way that that I understood it. Pero kasi pag sinabing rain check, parang sige, try muna natin, tingnan natin, baka pwede ngayon o baka some other day na lang, parang ganon. So we can definitely do that. But again, it takes practice and it also takes courage. Sabi nga nung mga kabataan, you have to have the balls for it. Okay, so dahil ako to, you have to have the backbone for it when you are saying no to other people. Another thing is have tact. Okay. Wag tact. O sige, ganito na lang, respect. Be very respectful when you're saying no. Okay? Um, when you ask, kasi ganito yon, when you ask someone for something, or to do something, or for something, they are expecting you to say yes. So somehow, when you say no, it's actually rejection on their side. So when people are rejected, it's a negative emotion. Nobody wants to hear no, correct? So nobody wants to hear the word no, especially if you're expecting the girl or the guy that you're talking to say yes. Isipin, will you marry me? Tapos bigla sumagot ng no. Diba? So, I mean, to that extent, no, just an example. But everybody, when somebody asks you for a favor, or asks you for something, that person expects you to say yes. And yet, paano kung magno-no ka? So, dapat be respectful, be polite when you're delivering your no. Okay? Kasi yung no naman, marami namang meaning yan, di ba? No, sabi nga nila, pwedeng next opportunity, or no, some other time, or no, kasi no talaga, 'di ba? Sa sales maraming meaning yung no. Pero in terms of personal relationships, when we say no, please be very polite when you're saying it. Pero hindi naman kailangan na super overly polite, but please be polite when you're delivering your no. All right? And you should also assess people's motives. Bakit ba nila ina-expect yung yes mo? Why are they asking you to do this? Or why are they asking for this? Blah, blah, blah. people will always have motives. Kaya nga may tinatawag tayong WIIFM. What's in it for me? So if they have like good intentions naman, maybe you can also reassess your yes or your no. But if the motive is not good, and even if you want to say yes and the motive is not good, then politely say no. Because remember, um, the activity itself, di ba, yung hinihingi sa yung whatever, is will only be justified by their motives. Ano ba yung motives nila? And people are driven by motives. Dapat siguro episode ko din yan. What are people's motives? Kasi 'di ba may kanya-kanya tayong motibo sa buhay. So ask yourself, what is the motive of this person? If I say yes to this person, will it have a positive outcome, or will it, when I say no to this person, what will be the possible outcome pala? Whether I say yes or no, what are the possible outcomes? And is it aligned with your values? Kasi baka mamaya, nag-yes ka, or I mean, nag-no ka, pero hindi siya aligned with your values. Okay? So again, assess people's motives. Okay? I said this earlier on, and I will say it again. Set boundaries. You deserve to have boundaries. Consent is important. Consent is valid. Okay. So I think I posted this. By the way, if you're not yet a member of Cheer Talk, which is a group that is linked to this Facebook channel, I mean to this Facebook account. So Cheer Talk, it's a group it's a Facebook group. I think I also posted about boundaries. So in a way about consent. Okay, tungkol sa consent. So 'di ba kasi yung sa family natin, parang let's just say pag open ng door, 'di ba? If your child if your child locks the door ganyan, bago kayo pumasok sa room, kumatok muna tayo. That's how we teach them consent. That's how we teach them boundaries. For example, ayaw magmano nung bata, wag nating pwersahin. Okay, wag natin silang pagalitan dahil ayaw nila magmano. Kids also have boundaries. Kapag nasanay yung mga bata na pinipersa natin silang gawin yung mga bagay na hindi nila gustong gawin, eventually, these kids outside of home will do the same thing. So if you have kids, turuan nyo sila kung paano sila nag-set ng boundaries. You know, my mom, when we were kids, tinatanong niya kami kung ano yung gusto naming suotin. Okay, that's how she made us learn about what we want and about what we don't want. So also ganun din tayo. So if you are a parent who's watching this right now, teach your kids about boundaries. Kasi eventually, they will also do it outside of home. And we don't want them to, just accept because they were forced to do things. Kasi, for example, pinilit, uy, mag-kiss ka kay tita, kay tito, ganyan, magmano ka, tapos pag hindi sila nagmano, papagalitan natin. Yes, we have to teach them how to do respect, how to say po and opo, ganyan, paano magmano. But if they don't want to do it, well, let's also give them, let's also give them that option not to do it. Okay? Pero again, depende nga yan kung paano niyo gagawin. Pero that's just an example of not pushing your kids so hard so that eventually they will also understand outside of home that they can actually set boundaries when that when necessary. Okay? I hope that made sense. Okay. Also, how do you say no? Well, you also have to plan. Sometimes, ito, madalas ko tong sinasabi kapag may humihingi sa akin ng advice. Sasabihin nila sa akin, what should I do now? What do I do now? And madalas, yung sinasabi ko, you don't need an advice. What you need is someone who will affirm what you already have in mind. But just in case you really don't know what to do at this very moment, well, don't do anything. That's it. Because you don't know what to do, then don't do anything. This is something that I learned from my lola. Sabi niya sa akin, hayaan mo na muna. Itulog mo muna yan. Okay, when you don't know what to do, don't do anything yet. Because you have to plan. Okay, dapat magplano ka rin. Paano ka nga ba magde-decline? Diba? We have so many friends who are offering this and that. Okay, marami tayong mga friends, lalo na yung mga kasing idaran ko na marami nang nag-o-offer sa atin ng kung ano-ano. And it's okay to decline. Pero mag-plan ka kung ano yung sagot mo para hindi ka masyadong, sorry sa burp, para hindi ka na masyadong ma-shock. Kasi baka mamaya mas weigh ka ulit kasi wala kang plan eh. Wala kang plan. So parang kapag ka nag-talk ulit yung taong yun, eventually ma-convince ka na. Gets nyo? Ayan. Kasi wala kang plano. So dapat meron kang plan of action kung paano mo siya gagawin. Okay, another one is to give an alternative. Um, okay, let's have this example. Okay, I'm randomly thinking of examples. Sorry, I'm thinking of random examples. Isang example, um, because I'm very picky when it comes to food. Very picky ako talaga. Kasi nga, aside from dietary restrictions, I'm also very picky talaga with when it comes to my food choices. Well, that's because I got used to, I got used to living in a home where whenever I want something, most of the time, my lola would cook for me. So I got used to it. So whenever people invite me for dinner, ganyan, um, syempre mag-offer sila ng mga um, options, restaurant options, what do you want, ganyan, ganyan. So instead of saying no, I actually give an alternative. So I will say, no, wow, that restaurant's really good. I like it. But can we go to another restaurant, which is something that I really, really love, and I would love you to try this one as well. So parang ganon. So you will give an alternative. You don't just say no. Kasi usually we say no to something because we think that something else is better. So what is that something else? You have to think about it. So kung let's say, ayaw mo ng pork, ano yung alternative? Ano yung pwede nating ipalit sa pork? Let's say, mas gusto mo, for example, chicken or fish, 'di ba? So ganon. So you don't just say no. You also give an alternative. And that's also true at work, 'di ba? Pwede mo rin siyang gawing strategy at work. So give an alternative. Don't just say no. Dapat merong sense yung pag no mo, hindi dahil ayaw mo lang talaga. Parang pag tinanong ka, ba't ayaw mo? Wala lang, ayoko lang. parang parang walang ka-glamour-glamour naman, 'di ba? So dapat kapag ka nagno-no ka, may glamour na kasama. Okay, whether you're a guy or a girl, you have to have that parang classy way of declining people. Okay, so that's it. Yan ang last slide natin. From Paulo Coelho, I hope I said that right. Yung surname niya. I always forget how to pronounce her surname. His surname. So, by the way, to those who know Paulo Coelho, he is a best-selling author. So to those who don't know, nako, basahin niyo yung mga sinulat niya. Grabe, ang gaganda ng mga books niya. Okay, sabi niya, saying no does not always show a lack of generosity, and that saying yes is not always a virtue. Okay. So no does not always show a lack of generosity. Hindi dahil nag-no ka, parang hindi ka na generous as a person. And saying yes is not always a virtue. Yes is not always a positive. Saying yes is not always a positive trait. People tend to take you for a doormat. Kasi nga, puro yes ka lang. Parang wala kang say sa buhay. Parang ganon. So, know when to say no and know when to say yes. And when you mean no, say no. When you mean yes, say yes. We should be very straightforward with how we communicate with people because it also reflects our ano ba tawag dun, our image. When you keep on saying yes tapos no naman pala yung minimean mo, people will have a negative notion or negative image about you. So talagang dapat very straightforward tayo when we are communicating with people. Take that from me. Take that from me as someone who's been teaching communication and someone who's been practicing. And I'm still learning. Every single day, I make sure that I'm learning from the things I'm also talking about para dapat i-apply ko din, di ba? Walk the talk. So whatever I'm saying in this podcast episodes, like 95% of the time, nagawa ko na sila na yung mga ina-advise ko rin. Siyempre, ina-advise ko tapos hindi ko naman ginawa, di ba? Parang wala namang sense. So, whatever I said tonight, lahat naman yon ginawa ko naman na. Dapat talaga, bigyan natin yung sarili natin ng boundaries because people tend to become abusive if you don't say no when you mean no. Okay? Pero, ito rin naman, again, take it with a grain of salt. Syempre, you don't always have to say no. Kasi kahit na mahirap, for example, sa work, okay? Baka sabihin nyo sa boss nyo, eh kasi sabi ni Ivorine, mag-no daw ako when I mean no. Okay, sa work, pag-usapan natin yung mga trabaho natin. Kailan nga ba tayo dapat mag-no sa work natin? Number one, when it's against our values. Number two, when it's crossing our borders or our boundaries. And number three, if it's not something that will help the organization. Yan, yung tatlong yan. Pero kung naman, nahihirapan ka lang, kaya ka nag-no, aba, hindi naman tama yun. Lahat naman ng mga, may mga trabaho naman talaga tayo na mahirap, di ba? Eh, ganun talaga. Pero hindi tayo dapat mag-no dahil lang nahirapan tayo. Mag-no tayo if it's not aligned with our values, if it crosses our boundaries, and if it's not aligned with our organizational goals. Yun. Para malinaw. Kasi baka mamaya sabihin nyo, i-quote nyo ako sa boss nyo. Boss, ayoko pong sumunod sa inyo. Sabi ni Ivory, napanood ko po sa podcast niya. Mag-no daw ako pag ayokong gawin. No, that's not what I'm saying, ha? You should have a very reasonable, very logical reason. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin reasonable reason. Medyo redundant. You should have a logical reason for not doing it. Yan. Para malinaw tayo. Kasi mahirap na baka makot tayo. Live pa naman to. Hindi ko to pwedeng i-edit. So anyway, hope you learned from that podcast episode. Our topic for tonight is no is a valid answer. So if you feel that, parang mali pala yung grammatical, yung title natin. Anyway, so no is a valid answer. So if you believe that you need to say no, then say no. Say what you mean what you say. That's always the key to communication. Honest communication, open communication is key to successful relationships. So if you want to have successful relationships, say no when you mean no. Say yes when you mean yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Um, it has been a really challenging weather kasi dahil dyan, nahirapan tayo mag-live, pero I was still able to make it. Show up kahit na late. Okay, thank you so much. Hello, Sir Clarence. Hello, Ma'am Rowena. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to those who are watching on replay, thank you so much. Hopefully, you got an insight or two from the podcast episode tonight. And if this resonates with you, and if you feel that this episode helped you out in one way or another, please feel free to share the video or the podcast episode too, so that we will also be able to share some insights to people who need to hear it. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and mean what you say, say what you mean, and God bless you all. Bye.